You're watching PEGRI TV, Rhode Island's public access channel.
Good evening, I'm Bill Mulholland, and welcome to Good Sports Classics. Tonight, we deviate from our usual Blackstone Valley sports stories to feature Providence native and Rhode Island running legend, Hollie Roy Walton Jr. Hollie was a 5-time track all-stater for Hope High School. He was the 1968 Rhode Island Interscholastic Cross-Country Champion, the 1969 Indoor State and Eastern Champion in the mile, and the 1969 Outdoor State and New England Champion, where he set the Rhode Island record in the mile with a blazing time of 4:13.2 that stood for over 20 years. At Johnson & Wales Junior College, Hollie was a 4-time Junior College All-American. In his freshman year, he finished 25th in the National Junior College Cross-Country Race and 6th in the National Outdoor Mile. In his sophomore campaign, Hollie improved to 3rd place in the National Cross Country event and 2nd in the National Mile Race with a clocking of 4:08.5. At the University of Texas at El Paso, Hollie achieved NCAA All-American honors as a member of the Minors Indoor Distance Medley Relay team that finished 3rd at the Nationals. Hollie is a member of the Hope High School Hall of Fame, the Johnson & Wales Hall of Fame, the University of Texas at El Paso Hall of Fame, and the Rhode Island Runners Reunion Hall of Fame. Welcome to Good Sports Classics, Hollie.
Thank you, Bill.
You're very welcome. Excited about this show here. So, Hollie, you have a great story regarding how you began your running career.
Yes, I started because we had to take, all students had to take a national fitness test. I was one of the students forgot to do a 1 mile because the fitness test consists of sit-ups, push-ups, pull-ups. You had to do the ropes, standing long jump. You had to throw a softball, and you had to run a 50-yard dash. And a gym teacher came running in, Mr. Morgan. He said, "Mr. Walton, you're going to flunk gym." I said, whoa, nobody flunks gym. I said, you know, I'm doing okay, but that's my only A.
And this was your freshman year, right?
My freshman year.
Okay.
So he said, well, you're going to have to run a mile. Well, I'm in the gym with my khakis on, and I had my T-shirt, and I had my loafers, and I'm dunking a basketball, and then he said, well, you have to run. I said, so what I got to do? He said, 1 mile. I said, so how many times is that around the block? He said, no, the 1 mile on the track. I said, Mr. Morgan, I don't pay no attention to that track. So he said, okay. I had to go downstairs. I took my shoes off. I took my T-shirts off, and I asked Big Al Vanaz, who I grew up with on Diamond Street.
Sure, I know Al, yeah.
Yeah, I knew Al since we were like 3 years old.
Okay, great guy.
Yeah, great guy, fantastic guy. And I asked him, could I wear his shoes? And his size shoes was a 10. I was taking an 8.5.
I'm not surprised.
Right.
Yeah.
So
okay.
I took his shoes and I took the laces and I tied the shoes around my toes and stuff like that, and they were flipping, going like that to me. And there was some guy talking about, I'm on the track team and I'm gonna win this. There's nobody gonna beat me. I didn't care. I just wanted to get my A. So
get it over with, right?
Yeah, get it over with is right. So all of a sudden we get on the line, Mr. Morgan blows the whistle. I run 4:50. The guy runs 5:40.
Wow.
You know?
First time you ever ran a mile,
First
you ran
time.
4:50 and had no idea what you
No
were doing.
idea. I didn't have the regular shoes on now either.
Yes.
You know, so I gave Al back his shoes. I went right upstairs and I started shooting basketball.
What did Mr. Morgan say?
He come running upstairs. He said, hey, are you okay? I said, did I get my A? He said, yes. I said, that's all I care about. So that's how I started.
That's all right. And then, so now, Hollie, in your sophomore year, you played football for the Blue Wave,
right,
but left the team to run cross country. Why? Was that the result of the 450 mile from the freshman year?
No, the 450 when I was a freshman.
But you couldn't compete, right?
I couldn't compete. Freshmen could not compete. They had JV freshmen, so you could run, But I've done JV freshman, but but it was okay. But when I started playing football, I quit football because we stunk.
Okay.
We wasn't winning. We was getting beat bad.
Yes.
So
and no fun at that.
No. And I'm very competitive. I don't like to lose. So I just said, let me go back to the cross country team.
Okay. All right. And now, Hollie, I want you to talk about your first meeting with then a junior at Hope High, the running legend Bobby Doyle.
Okay. What happened was when Ted McLaughlin, when he first had me running as a freshman, he had me do 50 laps on a wooden track. He said I was going to run indoors. I didn't understand why we were running outdoors. And Bobby was on the team, but he didn't show up that day. So I ended up, for one whole week, I ended up doing like 50 laps for 5 miles. And finally, I got sick and tired of that. And I went and I said, Ted McLaughlin was my coach. Yes. And I said, Ted, could you give me something different? He said, okay, get in the second team. Run with the second group. They're doing 64, 65. I ran 60 for quarters, 400. Yep. So I ran 61. Then he looked at me and he said, why don't you jump in the first team? And they had Jimmy Gordon, all these guys were all state. Jimmy Gordon, Sonny Winfield, Joe Comer, but Bobby wasn't there. So I ended up running like 56.
Wow.
So he said to me, you come back here tomorrow. I got somebody you're going to run with. And that's how I met Bobby Doyle.
Okay. And then tell me about what happened when you went out running with Bobby the first time.
So the first time I come in, I'm a ninth grader, and Bobby, he's in there, and he's doing all this stretching and touching his toes and going like this with his head and everything. And I'm looking at this guy, and I'm saying, something wrong with this guy?
He's just a little guy, too.
Yeah, he was like maybe 5'7", 5'6".
Tops.
Red hair, really red.
Yeah.
And he looked at me, and he gave me a shake and said, Robert Doyle. And I said, Hollie Walton. So they said we're going to do the Pawtucket loop. The Pawtucket loop was you came out and you go to Hope High School, you go all the way into Pawtucket, then you go on North Main Street and come back to Hope, which is like 6 miles.
Okay.
Okay, so I've never ran 6 miles. In my mind, I was saying, I'm going to go 3, but they're going to pick me up with a car, So me and Bobby goes out the door, and he was just talking. Kept talking to me. He said, you got to watch this. You got to breathe this. You got to watch this step. You got to put your arms down. And I'm saying, oh, this guy don't shut up, And he just kept talking. So we get to the end. All of a sudden, he stopped. And he turned
of the first 3 miles.
Yeah, 3 miles. Then he said we was doing the loop. He went back the same way.
Yeah.
So he stopped, and he turned around and ran back. I said, hey, whoa, dude, where's the car? He said, we the car. So he just took off. And you know how you're right next to him, and next thing you know, he's small, and he's gone, disappeared. I'm hurting. Now that's the first time I was running like that. I had pains. I was stumbling over the sidewalk. People were feeling sorry for me. You okay? I said, yeah, where's Hope High School? He said, well,
you're lost too on top of it.
Yeah, he said, you're about a mile away. I said, oh, no. I got back there like 25 minutes later. The coach said, Ted McLaughlin says.
Bobby was already gone home?
Yeah, he says, where was you? I said, whatever you do, please don't ever send me out with him again. And that's how me and Bobby met.
All right,
yeah.
Yes. Now, Hollie, Ted McLaughlin, who you just mentioned, was your track coach at Hope High School for all 3 track seasons, cross country, indoor, and outdoor. Right. Tell us about your relationship with Coach McLaughlin.
Well, Ted McLaughlin was about 11 years older than us guys when we were in school. And he was like a mentor. He was like a big brother, and he was a good friend and a coach.
Okay.
And
you got lucky with that one.
Yeah, I was very lucky with him because our parents could not come to the track meet because we had brothers and sisters, so they were taking it. He was all of that, and plus, when we had problems, he sat down and listened to us, and he was like he passed away about maybe 2 years ago, but he was, we had a good lunch with him and dinner before that happened. He taught me a lot about discipline.
Yeah, he was your mentor.
Oh, he was, all the way.
Yeah, good. And so all of us need mentors if we don't get it at home, at least from the coaches. So, okay,
right.
So tell me about it. Keep on.
So he would like come and get me. He would drive to my house and get me to go out and run. My mom would say, he's in the bed sleeping, go get him. And he'd take me out of there, put him in his car, he'd take me to track meets. I mean, my first time ever going anywhere was with him, and he made a decision for me to go to school, college. And I wasn't really sure about going. I wanted to go into the service, but he said, no, you're too talented.
And that was during the Vietnam War.
Yes, it was.
Right? So
Yes,
that's
it was.
not a really good decision if you can get away with not going.
That's right. And so
you got the college deferment, right?
Yeah, I got the college. But the whole thing about it is he was the one, because I kept getting all these papers, and as I got good about going into college, you want to go here, you want to go here, but he was the one who really picked for me to college.
Okay. Now, Hollie, due to your age being 18 in your junior year, you had only that year to make your mark as a runner, and you certainly took advantage of the opportunity. So let's talk cross country, where you won every race that season prior to the states at OLP Seminary. Talk about the state race.
Well, the state race was like OLP, and you were out there, and it was...
Now, that was out by Rocky Point,
Rocky
right?
Point,
yes,
yeah.
Very hilly. I remember
yeah.
that, absolutely.
And you're right next to the water.
Yes.
But it was windy.
And it's November.
It was November. It was cold. And you had to run, the race started where you had to run at 800 to go up the hill. Then you had to run near the wall where, if you know what OLP is, it's the wall way out in the thing. You had to run around there. You had to do it twice.
Yes, right.
And then after you did it twice, you had to come in to finish. So the gun goes off, and I'm in like 5th place.
And 2.8 miles.
2.8 miles, yep. And I'm in 5th place, and I'm running. And all of a sudden, it was my time to finish up. And he sent this guy named Everett Dunn, who was also a great runner. He ran up to me, he said, Coach said, stop kicking now. So I went past Freitas, I went past Monique, I went down, and I passed all these guys, and I called Jim, who was from Lincoln.
Jim Verdon.
Jim Verdon,
and
I called him.
We've got a photo of that photo finish coming up right now. So what happened? Tell me down the stretch. Is he ahead of you or?
He was ahead of me, and I went by him coming in.
How close to the end?
About maybe 20 yards.
Okay.
So it was a close race. He was a real good runner, and I came over, and he asked your picture. If you have a picture of me, you saw me, but he was right there.
Yeah.
It was unbelievable. That was my first big race.
And All-State at that point in time.
Yes.
Now, we have a photo of the 1968 cross-country All-State team. What I want you to do, Hollie, is give us a scouting report. So we're going to look at the bottom left, the picture's up there now, from left to right. The first one on the bottom left is your teammate, Jim Gordon.
He was an excellent runner, but Jimmy, sometimes he didn't run it the way he should have, because he should have finished second. Sometimes he missed practice, but he was a good runner. Jimmy was a good runner.
Dave Moniz, where is he from?
He was in East Providence.
Okay.
He was also one of the talent runners, and he was one of the guys that, he trained very hard, because we trained with him, and he was good. He was a good runner.
All right. Bruce Fisher.
Excellent runner.
From where?
From East Providence.
Oh,
he was a teammate.
Another townie.
Yeah, townie. And the thing about Bruce Fisher, he graduated at 16 years old. He was young.
Wow.
He was very smart and young, and there's a lot of stories about Bruce Fisher where we'll get into it when the time comes.
Okay.
But he was talented.
And all right, and give us scouting report of Hollie Walton at that point in time in your junior year. What type of runner?
I was the type of runner that didn't want to lose.
Okay.
And I was the type of runner that if I did lose a race, I want to know why I lost that race. Did I go out too slow, or did I go out too fast? How do I become better? And I hated to lose.
Yeah, and what was your preference? Did you like to run from the top, or did you like to lay back?
I like to lay back and come make the kick.
Okay. All right, so now we're going to go to the top left of the photo, and the one on the top left is Paul Harrison. From where?
Paul Harrison from Pilgrim. He was a good runner.
Yeah.
He was really good. He wasn't like, you didn't have to worry about him, but he was tough.
Okay. And John Freitas, who would later become a teammate of yours,
He became my teammate.
Right?
Freitas was a damn good runner.
From where?
From Coventry.
Okay.
He was very tough. I mean, even today, me and Freitas, we get together, we have coffee and stuff once a month. And I always said the Coventry boys were tough, and he was a tough runner.
All right, and lastly, on the far right is the guy you edged out from Lincoln, Jim Verdon.
He won almost all his races except for that one.
All right. And so those 7 individuals all finished 1 through 7 in the state. That's
right.
How it always worked, right?
Right.
All right, now, Hollie, it is now the indoor track season where all the meets are held at the Cranston Street Armory in Providence. You and I were both talking. I ran over at the Cranston Street Armory also. You are undefeated and the favorite in the state championship mile race. What did you have for competition? Pretty much the same guys that you were running
Same
against at cross
guys,
country?
same guys except for Freitas, because Freitas was a wrestler. They didn't have an indoor track. Freitas didn't at Coventry, so he was doing wrestling. Freitas was.
Okay. So talk about the race.
So the race goes on. My coach.
How many in the race?
There's 10 of us.
All right.
And I was running the mile, and one of my guys was in there. He was one of my teammates who was running with me. I forgot his name right now, but
Okay.
so they told me you got to set the pace, but you got to make sure that he stays with you. Because we're going for the state champion, so
Okay,
we're going
yes,
for points.
it's team championship.
Right.
Yep.
So I said, okay, so his name was Kevin McNeilis. And so we started running, and I slowed it down. And he said, keep that pace for 7 laps, Hollie. Keep it that way.
So you were running in front at that point?
I was running in front.
Okay.
Because a lot of people even if you were hurt, if I was hurt, they were scared.
Yeah.
Because they didn't want me to beat them.
Well, they know that
Right.
your speed at
Right.
the end, too.
Right.
Okay,
So we stayed there, and then at 7 laps, coach told me, now go. And I took off, and he finished 3rd overall, and we ended up getting a total of like 14 points.
Nice. And easily won the race after you kicked
Easy
it in?
won the race, yes.
Yeah. But difficult to run at the Cranston Street Armory, right? Because it's just
Oh.
a large area running flat,
That's
and
right.
the turns are not all that easy
That's
either,
right.
right?
That's right.
All right, now, Hollie, up next is the Eastern Regional Mile Race qualifier
Right.
at the Moses Brown track,
Right.
which we both know. I ran in the Moses Brown track. So much more different
Oh,
than
without a
the
doubt.
Cranston Street.
That's-
So talk about the track. How is it different from the Cranston Street Armory?
Well, the difference was 11 lap compared to 10.
Yeah.
But it was like almost,
It was banked.
it was banked.
Yes.
And you come off that bank, and it was like the track itself was hard. Compared to the Army, was slippery.
It almost felt like a catapult
Yeah,
as
that's
you're
right.
going around that corner.
Once you came off the corner, it gave you like that push.
Yes. Yeah.
And for that race, there was really nobody pushing me because I won the states. And so I qualified, but I ran like 4:22, but it was easy.
Easy run, right?
Right.
But now that you qualified, up next is the Eastern Regional Mile Race at New York City's Bronx Armory, which is a whole different competition you're running
Really
against. For
different.
the first time in your life now, you're starting to see these are the other studs from the other states.
There you are.
So we'll go over and talk about that.
Well, we're going to the Eastern, which is in New York, the Cranston Street Armory, and Ted McLaughlin, who's my coach.
Yeah.
This was my first time on a plane.
Oh, they flew you
Yeah,
out?
yeah, they
Oh,
flew
good
us out.
for you, huh?
Yeah, they made.
How was that, by the way?
Well, it was funny because Ted McLaughlin, he sits in the front seat and I go way in the back. He said, hey, whoa, those days are over. I said, hey, Ted, when a plane goes down, it goes nose, not tail. So I'm going to wait till it gets close. I'm going to jump out. And he says, I hate to tell you, he says, we all not going to make it. And that was my first flight, so he made me sit with him. And
Sure.
we went and got a hotel. He went and rented a car. And my race was on a Saturday.
All right.
So we get there on a Friday, we go out and eat, and now we drive to the Armory.
And what type of track? Is it more like Moses Brown?
No,
as opposed
it's more
to
like
Cranston
the
Street?
Cranston Street, but it was a bigger one. It was 8 laps, but it was a lot better.
Okay.
And so it's 8 laps, and they had all the 10 guys that qualified.
Yeah. Are you the favorite?
No, I'm not even afraid. It was this guy.
They don't even know who you are?
They didn't even know who I was. It was Joe Savage, and there was a guy named Marcel Philippe.
Okay.
And they were the top 2 around that area, and they never lost. So they had all 10 of us sitting down, and then they call you up one at a time to come to the line. It was like, and the crowd, it was a lot of people around.
And the mile race is the premier race
premier
of that, right?
race, right.
Okay, so tell me.
So now I'm coming out, and I'm the number 9 guy. And I'm coming out, and so we all got the line, straightaway line.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, they shoot the gun off, and those 2 take off, and I'm number 3.
What's your strategy going in?
I stay right behind them as close as I could.
Okay, yeah.
And so I stayed there, and all of a sudden, we came to the last lap. I caught both of them at the end, and I
Did you?
won. And all the people came out of the crowd. They came up and grabbed me, started hugging on me.
And you set a state Rhode Island record of 419.3 or something like that,
yeah,
right?
at that time, right. And then they started hugging me, and they wanted to take me out. these are guys from Boys Highs and all that school. And then coach said, no, we're going back. So we got in the car, took the plane, went back home.
Yeah. How did that feel, though? I mean, now you're saying, well, I beat the guys in Rhode Island. The qualifier was all set, but now you had to have a lot more confidence that now, you were a stud.
Well, my father always said never be, don't get an ego, but just take it the way it is, be humble. So I came back and I ended up playing basketball with my friends.
Okay.
We hung out and everything because they were my friends.
Sure.
And they pat me on the back. You did good. So, yeah, we did okay, you know.
And that record that you had, the 419, stood for over 20 years in
One of
Rhode
them,
Island.
yeah, there was, and it's still a school record.
Yeah.
And the one when I ran the one outdoors stood for over 20-something years for the whole state.
Right.
But the 419 was my state record for the school.
Now, Hollie, talking about the 1969 outdoor season, this is going to be the last time that you will be running competitively against high school runners because of your age, right? So you capture the New York Invitational Mile race in 4:20 and easily win the state mile race in the same time. So talk about those races. Just easy races?
Very easy. The competition wasn't that hard.
Are a lot of the guys who may have pushed you in the mile now saying, I want to be a state champion, I'll run the 200, or I'll run the 2 mile or the 1,000?
And you made a good point about that, because Bruce Fisher, as good as he was,
he wanted no part of you?
He didn't want no part, because he kept jumping to different races. So
Yeah.
I could never run against him, and all the guys wouldn't challenge me, because a couple of guys would say to me, like Roland David, when I met him, how good he was from commentary. He said, you was a specimen. When we saw you, you had those big legs, and you was tall, you was strong. He said, we didn't want no part of you.
So how tall and what was your weight at that point in time?
When I was in high school, I weighed about 175.
And
I
tall?
was about 5'11".
Okay,
Yeah,
solid.
I'm a little tall. I was
Right.
a solid
Yeah,
runner,
yeah.
solid, and because I worked with my dad at Fruit and Produce Market, and that got me strong.
Okay.
Now,
Hollie, the New Englands are held at the same location as the state's Bishop Hendrickens Taunton track, and you break the state record in the mile with a winning time of 4:13.2. You got a funny story about that race?
Yes. In the beginning, you had 10 runners, and they put me. I'm the last guy way at the fence, and so the guy named Jim Quirk, who was from Boston, Massachusetts, he was the top runner because he was run like 4:18 in high school. So Bobby Doyle now is over in the track over there, and he's saying, this guy here, Hollie Walton's going to win. And the guy said, oh, no. So Bobby's making bets out there for, and so now the race, they call you up the same way. They call the guy from Massachusetts, Connecticut, and all like that, and me. The race go off, and I go right off with him, quick. And we go around the first time, I'm stepping on his shoes, and I go, Coach, now, stay back there. So I had to get back there. Second time around again, they'll go over, because I kept almost tripping over the guy. I said, can I go now? He said, no, stay back there.
It's quarter-mile track.
Right, quarter-mile track.
Okay.
I went back. So the third time, was with 1 lap to go, he said, now go. And I just took off, and I beat him by 7 seconds.
Wow.
And in the story is Ted McLaughlin, who was my coach. He had these nice suede Adidas running shoes. When I saw him, I said,
okay.
Coach, that is a bad shoes you got there. He says, if you win, I'll get you a pair.
And he was a man of his word?
Yeah. You know what? When I won that race, gave me the shoes.
Wow.
He knew I was going to win.
Oh, he already had a
Yeah, he already had them. He already had them.
And it was the third fastest of any high school runner in the mile in the nation.
In the nation, there's only 2 guys that were better than me.
Okay.
Okay. Prefontaine.
No way. Really?
Prefontaine, he
Prefontaine?
ran 4:05 because
Yeah.
he was a senior, and that guy Joe Savage.
Wow.
And Joe Savage told me, he said, I told Prefontaine, there's a guy from Rhode Island. If he's here, you better be careful because he could outkick you.
Yeah.
You
Now,
know?
Hollie, due to your age, you had to sit out your senior athletic year.
Right.
But you do receive over 120 scholarship
Yeah, 100 or
offers.
so, yeah.
And I'm not surprised at what you were doing. Why did you choose to stay at home and attend Johnson & Wales Junior College?
Mainly because my coach, Ted McLaughlin, had a connection with Colonel McNulty, who was the coach. He was the dean of student at Johnson & Wales.
Okay.
And I didn't know where I wanted, because they wanted me to go like a junior college out there into out in California and all like that, and I didn't want to go because I didn't want to go leave home because I'm just starting. And so he said, send him here to Johnson and Wales.
Okay.
And so that's where I went to Johnson and Wales.
So you had to turn down. So did you ever go over and take any trips like they do
Yeah,
nowadays?
I went and took a trip out to.
Where'd you go?
I went to Florida, and we looked at the 3 Florida schools: Florida State, Miami.
Yeah, the big 3.
Yeah, and they had the Florida Relay. Matter of fact, I ran that.
Oh.
And that was a famous race. I said, I beat Jim Ryan. He dropped out.
It doesn't matter,
It doesn't
right?
matter, but I beat him. And I got second in
The
that
great
race.
miler, right?
Right.
He's the first one who broke.
Oh, he broke
4-minute mile,
yeah.
right? Yes.
Well, he was one of the guys. He was the one that ran that 3:53 in high school.
Wow.
And he was just awesome guy. And he was one of my favorite. I always wanted to meet him, and I got a chance to.
Yeah, tall and long.
Tall, long, and workouts he did was unbelievable.
Yeah. So now, Hollie, in your freshman year at Johnson & Wales, you captured the regional cross-country meet in Buffalo that qualified you for the national junior college event in Kansas, where you finished 25th and received your first of 4 junior college All-American status. Talk about that race and the course and everything else.
Okay, that race was unbelievable because before the race started, we was thunderstorms. It was really bad thunderstorms coming out there. Then the wind, then it started pouring really hard. And also
During the race?
During the race.
Okay.
And so what happened was we had to wait before the thunders stopped. The lightning and thunder, we had to wait for it to stop. So it was like maybe 15 minutes we had to wait before the race started, but it was pouring still.
All right. Now, you ran 2.4 miles in high school. Now, this is double. This is 4.8.
Right.
Right? A whole different thing. You never run something like that in a race that long.
No.
All right. So
the race goes on, and we start running. People are slipping and sliding, falling down.
Oh.
I got spiked, and so I held on for 25. I finished 25, and I got my All-American certificate, but it was like we were soaking wet. We were muddy. You had all kinds of mud going in your face. It was a tough course.
yeah. Humbling experience, though?
Oh, yes,
Yeah?
yes.
And so what did that do to motivate you?
Well, it motivated me and John Freitas together.
So John is now with you at JW?
He's with me at JW, and we both said we got to stop working hard if we want to do better.
Okay. Now, Hollie, there's no indoor season at JW. They just didn't have it. So it is on to outdoors. Now, talk about the New York Invitational Meet, where you won the 3-mile, the 1-mile, and the 800 individual events, and then was a member of the victorious 4x400 relay team. So you came away with 4 gold medals in that one.
I sure did.
So tell me about each of the races and how it went.
The race
Did
started,
you know you were going to be doing it?
Yeah, he told me, and it was a regional championship race that we had.
Yeah.
And so he said that you're going to run the 3 miles. So he said, but my coach at that time was Steve Anderson. He was the assistant coach for cross country. So he said, we're going to run it this way. So the 3 mile went off, and I just stayed in the lead. I just ran nice and easy. And he said, don't try to take the lead, but take it if you can. So the only one that was in there that I had to worry about was a couple of guys on the team, and I knew who they were. And I just took off, and I ran 15 flat for 3 miles.
Wow.
But then I only had about maybe 20 minutes to get ready for the 1 mile. So I ran the 1 mile, and I ran 4:22 the same way. I stayed right around there, stayed right with the leaders, and then I took off. Then 800, it was this guy, he was good, and he was one of my guys. And so both of us end up running. I end up running like 155.
So are they saying, who is this guy?
Yes,
He's
yes.
like a Superman. He's just a freshman at that point in time, right?
Yes, and then they looked at me and they shook their heads and they couldn't believe that I was that good, and then I ended up running a quarter in 49 minutes, 49 seconds, put it that way, and our team won it.
Were you the anchor or?
I was the anchor later on, yes.
But in that race?
In that race,
Okay.
yeah. So then what he said to me, I got the award for the outstanding athlete,
Yeah, why not?
Yeah.
Why would you not?
And we won the thing.
So you were 5'10", 175 in high school. Now you put a little bit more muscle on?
I started losing weight. I started getting, I went from there to about 165.
Oh.
And because it was different compared to Hope High School. Well, 'cause Hope, we did a lot of speed workout. At Johnson and Wales, we did a lot of distance, and we did track workout, but we do one track workout, but a workout would be on the roads like 5 miles at a good clip.
Yeah.
You know, and we do hill workouts. And so it got to a point where my weight started going down because the mileage started going up. And I wasn't like, I used to eat a lot, then I stopped eating a lot. I started like saying, nah, I don't want that, I want to do this, I don't want that. And so my weight went down to about 165.
Yeah, and so at that point in time, now we're talking early 1970s
Right.
at that point. Was there any weight training? Did they work with you with weights or not? It was all just distance?
No, all distance. I did my sit-ups and push-ups.
Okay.
You know, because, you know, like, a lot of people don't realize when I started at 16 years old, I started working a lot with my father who worked at Fruit and Produce Market. And they don't really understand that we used to have freight cars coming in with 100 pounds of potatoes. And they'd be like 800 of them. And they would put me and my dad in there. And I end up lifting those things with my knees, putting them here, putting them there, and pile them on the pile, jack them up, and take them off. And then they come in another time. The next day it'll be like 2,500 potatoes, 10-pound potatoes, and it'd be a freight car. And a freight car is long. If you know what a freight car is, you're in there and you go, oh my God.
Will it ever end?
Yeah,
Huh?
and so you do that, then you get the onions that come in. So I started doing that with my dad. And when I came away, I had thighs were like 28.
Wow.
Yeah, and most of the guys who saw me, was a guy at Rogers High School. He's a black coach. He went like that because there was 4 black runners at the same time for Hope High School.
Yeah.
And he went to me, he says, how come you run like that? Ain't you a sprinter? I said, no. He tells me to run. I just run. I don't even know what a sprinter is at that time, you know. But he said, but look at your legs. You know, I didn't know what to say to him because he was infatuated with that.
Yeah, well, and it was just natural. I mean, it's not
natural.
like you lifted weights and worked anything like that, because that really wasn't too much out there.
No.
Yeah. And I know we had Jimmy Doyle on the show in 2012, and we had Bobby Doyle in 1992, one of my first shows, and they both their philosophy was strength equals speed.
That's right.
And you know, the longer you run and everything else, that's where you're going to start going over, and that's going to be successful. And you know, Jimmy with his coaching, and then Bobby with his running, same philosophy, right?
Right, same as that philosophy. What Jimmy would say when Bobby got inducted and we started talking, he said that Hollie was the speed, Bobby was the distance.
Okay.
And that's how we would work each other together, you know.
Yeah. And then the combination of the two just make you better runners, right?
Sure did.
Now, Hollie, next up, you triumphed in the Eastern Regional 1 mile that qualified you for the National Junior College Outdoor Championships in Arizona. Discuss that experience where you finished 6th in a mile and garnered another Junior College All-American certificate.
It was different because when we flew into Arizona, it was hot. It was like 110 degrees. And we get there like 2 days early. And so Ted would take me, a coach was Ted McLaughlin, he would take me to the track.
Oh, the coach, Ted was your coach at JW?
Yes, he coached there, and then he coached regular high school. He was the one that took me, and then he had a guy named Steve Anderson take over after that.
Okay.
But he flew in with me, and so he would wait and take me to the track and do a little jogging on the track at Mesa, Arizona, which was a junior college.
Sure, I've been there.
Yeah, it was a beautiful place,
yeah,
too. It was
absolutely,
very beautiful.
Yes.
And so, it was hot.
Well, it was hot, but it was a dry hot. So if you are not going over and drinking the entire time, you're not even going to make it, right?
That's right. I had to drink all the time.
And they say dry heat, and it is. 110 is hot, but it's not.
It's that hot heat.
It's just so
dry.
It gets all our water out of our bodies.
So,
all right, go ahead. So talk about the race.
So now I get there. The race is on a Saturday.
Yeah.
And it's like 8 o'clock at night. But it's still hot. It's like 80 degrees.
Yeah.
And there's like all these guys, 10 to 12 guys on the track. And I'm in the second row this time. And the race go off, we run, and it was hot. I'm trying to stay up with these guys, and I ended up running 4:09. They were like 4:08, 4:07. I was right
so you're
there.
right with them, yeah.
I was right there with them, but I was number 6. And I went All-American, and they gave me my certificate and everything. And that got me kind of like upset, because I said, I think I could get these guys if I get a little stronger.
Yeah. But so now you finish your freshman year. So you're still a young kid at that
Right.
point. Well, young man, not a kid
Young man,
anymore.
yeah.
Yes. So Hollie, in your sophomore year, you and the Johnson and Wales cross country team won every race leading up to the Eastern Regionals. Tell us about the injury that sidelined you for 2 months prior to the
I had
Easterns.
strained ligaments in my knee, which from running on the roads, because I wasn't used to that, you know. So we did a lot of running on the roads, and I went to a doctor named Dr. Stravastano, who he invented the replacement of the knee.
Really?
Yes, he did, and he would put the needles into your legs, right with the thing. He would feel around your knees, and he put it right there. He said, "That's the spot, right?" I said, "Yeah," and you put it in there, and then you do it this one. So he was putting these chemicals that help it get developed, and so.
Like a cortisone?
Cortisone, that's what it was.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
So my coach put me in the pool. He put like a vest on me, and 2 hours. That's all I did was going up and down the pool. I either did this on the running, and when it got to the 12th, it was like we had an 8-foot pool, Johnson and Wales.
Yeah.
I swam and touched the thing. And then when I come back, I do this, and that's all I did for 2 hours.
And so now you're in non-weight bearing.
Yes.
So now, the knees can still go over and recover from that. Oh, brilliant idea.
Well, that was the first time I ever saw anything like that. And I had that vest, and then I started fooling around, going like, getting sick and tired, going there. I would go this way, that way, that way, that way. Then I would go swim. And then finally I started doing that's when I started doing the little weights, because they had, Johnson Wales had a weight thing that you could put at rest. And I started doing that, and for 7 days straight, I kept doing that for all that time I've been hurt.
Wow.
So then the race came,
It's out in Syracuse.
Yeah, the Syracuse
right?
race came. I was able to run. My knees were good. I won that.
What type of course was it?
It was rolling hills, up and down. And matter of fact, Bruce Fisher was there at Syracuse because he went to Syracuse.
Really?
Yeah, he ended up having a record at Syracuse. He ran a 3:55 mile.
And did he run cross country?
He ran cross country, but he was a Division I. We were junior college.
True, that's true.
Yeah,
yes.
so I got to see him when he ran. He ended up talking to me about that. You could tell the maturity of Bruce. He started getting developed too,
Yeah, because he was only 16 years old, you said, right?
So,
yes.
Yeah, he was 16, so think about it. He was probably 18 years old when he was a sophomore.
Yeah.
So he was, so he talked to me about that, and he said, are you okay? I said, yeah, and I won it. I won that race.
And so you qualified for the Nationals again,
Right.
and so you returned back to Kansas
Right.
for the Nationals, but this time the weather cooperates.
That's right.
And you finished third for another All-American placement. Talk
Right.
about that race.
Well, that was a fantastic time to run. It was beautiful out there. It was ideal weather for running. And so John Freitas and myself, we ran. And because we trained all summer long for this. We were ready for it. And so the gun goes off, we take off, and then we hit 4:15, a guy called 4:15. We said, oh my
You
God.
ran a 4:15 mile?
Yeah, and that's for the first one.
Yes, right.
Yeah. So we said, oh my God.
How far ahead were you?
It was him and 2 other guys with us. So I'm saying, we looked at each other and we went, we're not gonna make it. So then I hit the second mile, and I hit 8. It was 8:35.
Okay.
2 miles. So I did 20, and I still hung on, and I was still with the guys, but I was leading a little. I got to the 4 mile, I still had it, and then that last 100-yard dash, 2 guys went by me, bam, bam. I had nothing left.
Yeah.
I was done.
Yep. Cooked. Yes.
I went and I said, that's it. And then I saw Freitas come in, he was 10th.
Yeah.
And then Roland Davis was on the team, he was 25. So we had 3 All-Americans.
That's incredible.
3 All-Americans.
And so how did the team make out?
We finished 6th again because we had 2 guys that were 800-meter runners, but they just ran because we only had like 5 guys on that time. And so
on the cross-country team?
we had a total of maybe 8 guys, but most of them wasn't that good, just the 3 guys that were good.
Yeah.
When we could win with the 3 guys because we always were close together. But it was like finishing, we improved, but, we wanted to win the team.
Yeah. So where was Johnson and Wales? Now, Johnson and Wales now is out in a beautiful campus out in
Right.
No, that's with the JW. I'm thinking of Roger Williams. I'm sorry. So where was the campus for JW at that point in time?
It was downtown Providence.
Okay.
Right downtown Providence, right there where the old outlet company used to be.
Yes.
Right there. And
got
now they fixed it all up now. They bought all that now, but that's where it was. Johnson Wales building was there.
So you're going to school there, and you were running, you know, and then also probably like all of us who went junior college, myself, Dick Tanny, myself, we went to Rhode Island Junior. Working also? Were you still working for your dad?
No. Actually, at that time, Johnson and Wales, Colonel McNulty, this is how he had so much pull. He got me work study. He got me to work in the summertime. And we did a lot of painting for his buildings because he had so many buildings. So he got me a job that way.
Okay. Well, that worked. All right. So now, Hollie, once again, no indoors at JW.
Right.
All right. But for outdoors, again, you win every mile race leading up to the Nationals, again in Arizona. So now you know what it's like.
Right.
And with the best time of 4:09 in the mile. Talk about your last race as a member of the JW team.
Well, we got there the same time. It was like a Friday. This time was Steve Anderson. He was their coach then.
Right.
And so we got there. We went over everything. We ran. And he said, you know, the best thing is to try to take the lead and just run. So I did take the lead. I ran as hard as I could. I got caught by a guy that was from Connecticut, but he was going to some prep school out there in Kansas somewhere. And I ran 4:08, he ran 4:07.
Okay.
So that's when I got second place.
And the two of you ran together all the way through the race, or did he come on strong?
We came out all together, you know, and he caught me at the end. And that same kid was the kid who went to Connecticut. He was a half miler out there, and he ran like 151 when we was in high school.
That's flying.
Yeah, he was unbelievable. Matter of fact, he went to Kansas with Jim Ryan once. He went to Kansas out there, so he went to school there.
All right. Now, Hollie, you received many scholarship offers from nationally prominent universities and chose the University of Texas at El Paso. Why?
Well, because of Bobby Doyle went there, and Ted McLaughlin had a connection with the coach there, who happened to be Wayne Vandenberg. He was the coach.
Okay.
And so they both figured that I would be better going to that school than going anywhere else.
Did you fly out there prior to?
No, I didn't.
Really?
No, I didn't go.
Did he do any trips?
He flew in to see me.
Oh, okay.
The coach did. He flew in, and he took my parents and I out to eat at the Biltmore. And the coach, and Tim McLaughlin, and Steve Anderson, we all was out there. And
what did he have to say?
He said to me, you know, because I was still kind of not sure about going.
Yeah.
And he said to me, look, I'll do you a favor. He says, I'll take your brother, and I'll
Now,
take...
your brother Willie was another all-stater, right?
He made All-State 9 times. As a freshman, yep.
Yeah. Older brother, right?
He's my younger brother.
Younger brother, okay.
Yeah, he was an All-State guy, and sophomore 3 times, junior 3 times, senior 3 times.
Wow.
Yep. But he didn't run the times I ran, but he was good.
Yeah,
he
well,
was very
he was
good.
great for Rhode Island.
Yeah,
for
great
sure.
for Rhode Island. As a
Yeah.
matter of fact, he won some kind of invitation. He ran 153 in a junior nationals somewhere, out there in New York. He did. My brother won that, and he was good. He was good.
So he offered. Tell me about the offer again.
He offered my brother to come, Alvin Nass,
Yeah.
and my friend Buddy Bullitt.
Full scholarship?
Full scholarship.
Oh, you're kidding me.
All 3 of them didn't want to go.
No way.
No, yep.
Not even to experience what that, the four of you together out there?
Yeah, it would have been great for all 4 of us.
It would have been a lot easier for you, for sure.
It would have been because...
Now, was Bobby still out at Texas?
No, he was just getting ready to come back now.
Okay.
You know, and he was the one who also told Coach that it would be good for him because his experience is different, you know?
Yeah.
And so he came and he said, okay, and none of them wanted to go, you know, and I was disappointed because I said, one of you guys should have came, you know?
Yes.
You know?
Yeah, and so first time away,
right,
on your own, you know, you're a big boy now, you're a man, right?
Yes.
At that point in time. Well, good experience? Did they take you in, or was it so important that you were part of the team that it made it a lot easier?
It made me being part of the team was a lot easier.
Okay.
But going there, it was unbelievable. It was different.
Yeah, culture shock.
Culture, yeah, it was a shock because when I got there, it was like, oh my God, what's going on? because you saw mountains, you saw cactus breeze coming down, you saw how dry it was.
Different foods,
different
right?
food.
Yeah. Rattlesnake soup.
Rattlesnake, all those. And then when you got on, you saw the guys with the Cabreros and the tight boots and pants and
the guns, right?
Yeah, and they had the guns on their sides. And I'm looking at these guys because we had to get a cab.
Yeah.
And the cab driver, he picked us up. He had a little bit of English, so we had to give him a paper saying UTEP, the school, college. Yep. And I watched him. He had his gun, he had the sombrero hat, he had these big buckles, and he had this stuff in his mouth. And I'm saying, what the heck is this? In the back of his cab was a gun.
Yeah.
I'm saying, oh man.
What did I get myself into, right? What was Bobby talking about?
That's what I said to myself, man. I said, this is not what I thought it was.
Now, Hollie, you are now in big time. This is big time Division I competition with 10K races now for cross country. Tell us about your first UTEP race as a junior in Mile High, New Mexico.
All right, we get to New Mexico and everybody's saying it's a mile high, so don't go out too fast. So, well, all of a sudden the race said, we got about maybe 20 minutes where we're gonna hold the race back because they're shooting rattlesnakes on the course. I couldn't believe it. I heard all this pow, pow, pow. I thought it was like fireworks or something. He said, no, we're shooting rattlesnakes. I said, rattlesnakes? I said, you must be kidding. So he said, no. So, the race go off later on, and I see it. It was all on the ground. I'm saying, oh, my God. And I'm out in the lead. It was the biggest mistake. Because I came back, I was...
The elevation?
Yeah, it was so high that the breathing was tough.
Yeah,
I finished like 8 or something like that, but I was wondering why everybody wasn't coming with me, because they ran the course. But I finished 8, and I learned a lesson out there, but that rattlesnake scared me when they said that.
I don't blame you. Now, Hollie, UTEP finished second in the Western Athletic Conference, with you being the 4th of 5 scorers on the team. You had been the #1 runner ever since you started running in high school and junior college. What was your mindset on being number 4 of 5?
I said to myself, it's a learning stage. I want to learn how good these guys was.
Okay.
And I said I wanted to run with these guys. I wanted to figure out what makes them so good.
Well, like they say, if you play up against people who are better than you, if you've got that competitive nature, that's going to help you as opposed to knock you down.
Well, it did. Matter of fact, it made me want to be better.
Okay.
And it made me work harder. And
how so?
Well, I did a lot of running with like the guys from Africa, and they would do workouts that I started running with them, and I started getting stronger. And their workouts was unbelievable. I went with them for a 10-mile run, and they're laughing and joking and talking like it was no big deal, and we're not running hard. And I said, how come we're not running? Well, we get to this place called Scenic Drive, which is 4 miles up, like that.
Yeah.
And you're running like this. and all of a sudden, the guy goes like this, go now. And they're sprinting. I said, they gotta be kidding. And I'm trying to stay up with them, and I was catching them. I was catching some of them, but the top guys, they were running. So when I got done, it was 3 miles. I go, he said, no, we're not finished. You got to go another half mile to the sea. And now I'm going to the half mile, and I'm going, oh, man. And then I finished. He said, no, we finished. We jog easy. I started doing that with them. The guy who beat me the first time, who came from Africa, was a 147 half miler. He beat me like, I ran against him. He beat me like that. We ran 150. I killed him.
Did you?
Yep.
So that type of training, it
training,
just sort of trained your body and your lungs also.
Yes, it did. It made me become stronger,
Excellent. Now, Hollie, it is 1974, your indoor campaign with University of Texas at El Paso. You run the 1,800 events during the season, but UTEP's claim to fame is the distance medley relay, where in the WAC championship, the team runs the fastest time in the nation and qualifies for the NCAA Nationals in Detroit. Now, you run the 800 as part of the team and finished 3rd in the nation and picked up your first NCAA All-American designation. So much better than the junior colleges. This is the best of the best.
Right.
Congrats on that. Talk about the distance medley relay and talk about that season for you.
Well, the season started, when we were running, and We went to the WAC championship back in New Mexico when we first did, because we had to win the WAC championship too. So I won the 1,000 again. I ran the 1,000, but I finished third. The guy who beat me was Paul Cummins, and he was one of the best in the world. He ran 2:10 flat. I led the whole race. I went to the half in 1:48. And he caught me at the line. He ran 2:10. The next guy ran 2:10.1, and I was 2:10.2.
Wow.
And the next guy was 2:10.3. So all four of us ran that, and we all qualified for the nationals.
Okay.
But Ted Banks, who at that time was the head coach, he walked over to me. He put his arm around me. He said, "Hollie, I'm so proud of you." He said, because I was going to run the 4x4 too. He said, "You're not running a 4x4. You did what we had to do." And Wilson had to run against that guy, Paul Cummings, and Paul Cummings was tough.
Yeah.
You know, he was from BYU, and Wilson beat him because I took out the sting from his legs. So
yeah.
he said to me, so he sat me down, he said, "We could take the relay team, or you could go individual." I said, "Whatever you want, coach, it's up to you." And so he said, "Let's go take the relay team." That's where we went.
And the time, do you remember what the time was in the 800 at the Nationals?
In the Nationals, it was probably like when I gave the lead for the National, I ran 1:51.
Yeah.
And I gave them a lead, and our third guy, the third quarter guy, he blew it. He ran like 3:02. And that guy, Joe Savage,
Yes.
he was running for University of Massachusetts. And he ended up running like 2:50 for 3 quarters. That's 55, 55, 55.
Yes.
But our guy ran 3, and we gave him a lead. He had a 15-yard lead, and he just didn't hold it.
Yeah. And the DMR, what does it consist of?
It starts with the 800 first.
So you ran first.
I gave him the first lead, right?
Yep. And
The
talk about you see the relays in college, in nationals and everything else. Talk about the baton. I mean, that takes a lot of practice.
With something like that, it wasn't all that bad, because when you're coming in, the guy, your quarter mile, he's standing there, you just go like that to him.
Okay.
But if you're running like 4x1, 110, that's where you had to learn that. So it was easy, but the baton, you had to make sure you got it into his hand.
Yeah.
Because if he misses it, you're done.
Yeah. So it's the 800 first, and then the
400.
400.
Then 3 quarters after that, then the mile.
Okay.
You know, so, and we had Wilson on a team that ended up running, in his career, Wilson ended up running 3:50 for a mile.
Really?
Yeah, and he missed the world's record in 1,000. He ran 2:05.5. The 1,000 record was 2:05.
Wow.
So Wilson was a beast, man. But he couldn't make up the difference because that guy ended up putting us too much in the hole.
Okay. Now, Hollie, for outdoors, you were part of the 4x400 relay team that captured the WAC title. You have an interesting story on that race.
Yes, I do. This guy's name was Maurice People. He was NCAA.
I know that name.
Oh yeah, he was a beast.
Was he? Okay.
Oh, Maurice People was unbelievable. He ran like on a relay 43 something, and he ran 44 in the open.
Wow.
And he ran 20 flat for 200, and so he was good. So he won the quarter, you know, in 400 against one of our guys. So now Ted Banks was saying to me, you know, "Hollie, I'm going to put you on the relay. You're going to run the anchor." And then he said, "Jesse Kemp is going to go third." I said, "Okay." And so I saw Maurice People, and I'm talking to, hey.
And now he's going to be running the anchor,
yeah, he's
right?
going to be anchor. I said, hey, let me tell you something. Don't get carried away. I said, don't embarrass me. He said, "Don't you run hard, I'll run with you." I said, "Okay, that's a bet." Then also we get the lead. Our first 2 guys gave us the lead. So now I go like Ted Banks, he switched me. He said, "You're going third, Hollie. Jesse's going," because Jesse's run 46.
So how soon before the race started did he switch you?
Just as the race was going on, he just switched it. He
No
said,
way.
Yeah, because he's right there with us. And he says, "Hollie, you're going third. Jesse, you're going fourth." Okay. I said, "Oh, good, guy. I don't have to run against this guy." So I take off, and that's when I ran my 46.6, and we had the lead.
Yeah.
But, man, when Jesse got the ball, Jesse ran 46. That guy went by him like he was standing still.
Yeah.
Maurice went. I said, "Man, I'm glad he's shooting me."
That is speed personified, huh?
And I got to know, we got to talk, you know, people. We were good friends, Maurice and I, you know, and he says, "I thought you was going to run. I had to run hard." And it wasn't up to me. You need to talk to the coach.
But it's remarkable that Maurice Peoples certainly did not run cross country.
Oh, no.
Or any of that, but
No.
you were so versatile. I mean, the coaches must have been drooling over you that I can put this guy, you probably could have run the 200 and a,
Well,
did you ever run the 100-yard or 100
I ran 100 yards.
In what?
We were doing practice, 100-yard sprints.
Yeah.
And we were doing 16. I ran 9.6, 9.7.
Oh, really?
Then I ran 21 something for 200.
But the dashes,
Right.
are anaerobic.
Right, right.
As opposed to the aerobic with the longer distance.
Right.
Was it because of your thunder thighs that you had there?
A lot of people was that, had that strength, but I didn't know I had that kind of speed.
Yeah.
But what I always took for advantage is, like, for one thing for me was, I know I could run. And so when Banks was timing us and doing 100-yard dashes, he called me over. He said, "Whoa, come here." He said, "You know you're running 9.6, 9.7 for 100?" I said, "Yeah, one time I ran 109.7. He said, "Well, you're running 9.6, 9.7. And he says, "You're too good of a track runner." Because he wanted to make me a steeplechaser. And he says, "And I'm not even going to touch you.
Okay.
You're too good of a track runner."
All right. Now, Hollie, in your senior year, you didn't run cross country. You finished second in the 1,000 indoors, second in the 880 outdoors, and graduated with a Bachelor of Science in Physical Education and a minor in biology. So now your college career is over.
Right.
You happy?
I'm very happy because one thing I got out of it, I got a scholarship.
Full scholarship,
Full
right?
scholarship.
No debt at the end.
No debt at the end.
Good for you. Yeah.
I got my bachelor degree, phys ed and everything.
Yeah.
I got a chance to meet great people. I loved them. And they're still my friends.
Yeah.
And it opened the door for me to coach Johnson and Wales.
Wow. Yeah. And so, right move going to UTEP?
It was the greatest move.
Yes. Yeah.
Even though I didn't like it, it turned out to be one of the best moves in my life.
And you matured also.
Oh, I matured a lot.
I mean, because I went off to junior college, and then I went off to UNC, Chapel Hill. And it just changed, again, total different culture, and it just changed me, and it turned me into what I am today. Same thing with you, right?
Yeah, and made me a better man. I say that to my brother and all of them, and Al. I said to my brother, I said, "You would have been, he would have been a good marathon runner compared to me."
Yeah.
And I said, "You would have loved it, because it made you grow up."
Yeah. Now, Hollie, we have 1 minute left in the show. How did competing in track change your life?
It made me understand what it took to become better. And to become a better man, you have to understand that you're going to lose and you're going to win. But you gotta know when you accept you're losing, you gotta know how you lost and how you can improve.
Okay. So you get stronger in the loss? I mean, so if you won everything else, if you won all the time, you would have no idea what it takes.
That's right.
And made you, even in your regular careers and in your life career.
Anything I did, I wanted to do better.
Okay. Now, Hollie, you have agreed to return to Good Sports Classic in the fall of 2026. So I look forward into delving into your 20-plus years of coaching track at the high school and collegiate levels and your road running marathon accomplishments. So thank you and great job. That was fun.
Thank you for having me.
Yes.
Thank you for having me. I had a great time.
Me too. I look forward to seeing you in the fall.
Okay, Guy.
I'm Bill Mulholland for Good Sports. Good night.